I'll get back to you about that.
I rented my
Okay,
apartment
bye.
on a Monday.
Hi, I'm Quentin Stafford-Fraser, and I'd like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about the broadband phone technology we're developing here at AT&T Labs in Cambridge. Now normally the best way to explain this is to demonstrate it to people and to let them try it out for themselves, but unfortunately that isn't always practical, and so this little home video will have to do instead. I'll try and take you through the important points that I would explain to people if I were giving them a live demo. This is our current prototype of the broadband phone. It has a touch screen here on which I can display information and with which I can interact either with my fingers or using a pen. It has a handset and it has a network connection here. This one is Ethernet, but it could use a variety of network technologies. The basic philosophy here is very simple. We believe that the traditional phone has worked very well for a long time because it is so simple. It's just really an input and output device for audio on the end of a network. But now that same device is starting to be used for situations where it isn't really the best user interface available. We're using this standard keypad for doing things like ordering theatre tickets and retrieving voicemail, and we feel we ought to be able to do better than that. So we wanted to add some graphical capabilities to the telephone. But we didn't want to make something as complex as a PC, where you could have all the problems with your telephone that you can currently have with your PC. We thought that would be a very bad idea. So what we've done here is built this using our thin client technologies. Everything you see on the screen is drawn by sending graphical information over the network here. There are no programs actually running in the phone here except for a very simple viewer. And this brings you all sorts of advantages. You never get viruses in the phone because nothing ever runs here. You never run out of storage in the phone and have to upgrade it because it doesn't use any storage here. It's simply a way of displaying the output of programs which are running elsewhere on the network. So I'm going to show you a lot of fun things we can do with this device, but you must understand that any of these could be changed at any time without reprogramming the phone itself. And that's what makes it fundamentally different from most of the other devices on the market. So what sort of things might we do with a device like this? Well, first of all, obviously we can make phone calls, and we have a standard dialing keypad here. Pretty much anyone can walk up to this and use it, and it's actually doing internet telephony behind their back, but you don't have to know anything about a computer to be able to use this. However, we're starting to think about other ways of initiating telephone calls as well. We can call people by name instead of having to know their number. We can even call them by face. We can click on a picture of them, very useful if you've forgotten somebody's name. And we're starting to look at other things like calling a location by clicking on a map, for example. However, for the moment, I'll go back to names here, and I want to call Nick Hollinghurst. It shows me where he is here, and I can initiate a call like this. Oh, hi Nick, it's Quentin. I'm just doing a demo here. I wonder if we could show some of the applications that we've got here on the broadband phone.
Yeah.
I think I'll start off by having a little game of chess with Nick. If I click on here, we can share this graphical space in the same way as we're sharing the audio space here through the speakerphone. So if I move a piece here, Nick can see it move, and he can make a move at the other end. Other kinds of applications we might share are perhaps musical ones. Here we have a little piano, and anything I play, Nick can hear, and anything Nick plays, go on Nick, I can hear. So we can even compose little duets. Well, I think that's quite enough of that. Thanks Nick, that's great. But perhaps the more interesting applications we can share here are this one. This is just simply a piece of paper, but it's a piece of paper that we can both see, even though we may be on the other side of the Atlantic. And we can draw on here, and it's almost like an instant fax service. It's a fax you don't have to wait for. So, I'm going to draw a little circuit diagram here because I want to ask Nick's advice on this circuit I'm drawing. And Nick, I'm thinking of putting a capacitor there. I wonder, is that going to be a good idea?
Well, it would only be useful if you also
Ah, okay, thanks very much, that's great. Another thing we can share between the two ends are photographs or PowerPoint presentations or a variety of other graphical information. So I can look through my photo album here, and as I do so, Nick sees the pages flipping over at his end as well. So this might be my sales catalogue, or it might be my holiday snaps, or I might be an estate agent trying to sell you a house, and I could be showing you various properties that are available and asking whether you'd be interested in a study that looked like that, for example. Similarly, if Nick looks through any pages, go on Nick, pick a photo. There you are, I get to see them as well. So we can share this photo album between both ends. Many thanks, Nick, I think that gives us the idea.
Okay.
Bye. So we've seen there some of the power of this as a shared communication device, where you can have a graphical space to go alongside the audio channel. And we find that very powerful, particularly that sketching program. You can use that for so many different things. Everybody has a use for a piece of paper. Some people use this for drawing maps to invite each other around to dinner. You can say, this is the way to get to my house. Other people sketch equations on it. Some complex equations can be very difficult to send using email or to describe over the phone. When you're doing a pen-based system, you can write in any character set that takes your fancy. Other things you might use this for are, if you're an interior designer, you might like to sketch a room layout while you're talking to your client and suggest maybe the pieces of furniture could be moved around the room in this way. We think we're only starting to discover the opportunities that shared graphics give us when closely tied to a conversation like that. But what sort of things can we do with this phone when it's just used as a standalone device, when you're not actually having a conversation with anybody else? If we press the home button here to return to the main screen, we can see some of the other applications or services that are available to us. That notepad that we used earlier for drawing the circuit diagram can be used for a wide variety of other things, from technical to artistic. And you can send the sketches that you produce on there as email to people, where a little keyboard pops up and you can type in the email address of the person you want to send it to. Or you can send it to a printer. If I click there, it offers me a choice of printers. But the important point here is that none of those printers are connected to this device. They all connect to the network. If you start to attach peripherals to the device itself, it becomes more like a PC, and you have all the inherent problems of installing drivers and so on. So what we're assuming here is that peripherals like printers, scanners, cameras will be able to communicate with the network themselves and will not have to be attached to the particular device. Other things we have on here are a calendar program where you can associate a particular message with a particular day, a calculator which can operate in various modes. This is a standard mode, but we can have a hexadecimal mode or a trigonometrical mode. We have a view of weather information, which is taken from a weather station on the roof of our building or from elsewhere on the net. And the photo album, which you've seen before in its shared form, but which you can also use just to browse your own personal photo collection. But one thing we think is particularly important about this device is that we've deliberately made it not look like a PC. We want people to think about putting this in places where they wouldn't think, perhaps, of putting a PC. Places like your coffee table, your bedside table, maybe your kitchen worktop or hanging on the wall. And the sort of services that people might want there may be very different from those you would normally think of when considering a web browser, for example. One service you might want is music, and we have here a variety of albums on offer. Let's do. Or we can have some ABBA. Or we can have some Beethoven. Now the quality here is really limited by the quality of the speaker built into the device, but we do actually have audio sockets on the back so that you could connect it to your stereo if you wanted. This might be live radio, or it might be a service offered by a record company where you pay a small amount for each track that you listen to. Imagine how much easier it is to order a pizza if you can see the menu while you're doing it, and you can say, oh, I won't have one of those because I really like olives and that doesn't have olives, but I'll have one of those and two of those. It tells me how much it's going to cost, and it also tells me at the moment that it's taking 45 minutes for the delivery. I could click order now, and that might connect me to the person who's going to do the delivery, and I could then even switch back to the little notepad program to draw a sketch of how to get to my house. And we can read faxes and email on this device, we can browse the web, and so forth. But the important thing which distinguishes this from many of the other similar screen phones you'll see in the market is that those typically have the web browser, the email program, and so forth built into them. They can sometimes be updated, but essentially you are limited by the software that is provided with the device when you purchase it or when you install it in your customer's premises. With this, the only thing we ship to the customer through the network are pixels, encoded in clever ways, but basically pixels. And that means you can change any aspect of any application at any time in the future, and you should in no way be limited by the device that you've actually put on people's desks. And that's particularly important for things like the web, where the technologies are changing so fast that in 2 or 3 years' time there may be some completely new web technology out there. Everybody may be writing their pages in XML with PDF plugins and QuickTime extensions, and if you haven't built that into the device you put on people's desks, with many systems you would be stuck. People wouldn't be able to look at the latest web pages and content that is produced for the up-to-date browsers. Here it doesn't matter, because the web browser isn't here, it's on the server. And so if you want to change the web browser that people have available, you just change it on the server and it changes immediately for everybody. And we believe that that fact is what makes this technology so powerful. There's no reason, of course, why this has to look like a telephone. We just put it in this shaped box so people don't think of it as a PC. But it might be presented, for example, as a picture frame, where you walk up and touch it, and the pictures are suddenly replaced by a telephone dialing keypad, and your picture frame becomes your telephone. However we present it, the important point is that we're adding graphical communications to the audio channel that we've become so used to. And because these devices will be driven by our thin client technology, they will be future-proof, they will be fun, we hope, and easy to use, and above all, they will have the reliability that we've come to expect from the good old telephone.
Wednesday at 3, I called the phone company singing, hey baby, put a phone in for me. Thursday at 4, he came and knocking at my door singing, hey baby, I'm your telephone man. You just show me where you want it and I'll put it where I can. I can put it in the bedroom, I can put it in the hall, I can put it in the bathroom, I can hang it on the wall. You can have it with the buzz, you can have it with the ring, and if you really want it, you can have a ding-a-ling, because